So this section, we're just taking it a step further. We're gonna simplify and solve equations at the same time. So, quick review, 1 through 4. Let's just look at them. What would number 1 be if I'm just simplifying? It's just x, like x to the first power.
Where are we?
Page 38.
Whoa, that's homework as well?
Okay, what about number 2?
I don't know. X because it becomes 12 or 12.
Oh, wait.
Yep.
No, it doesn't.
Just x, not 1, just x, like x to the first power. Maybe.
Yeah, X.
X?
X.
X, good.
It's a shout out to my
So, we're going to take that kind of idea where basically what's happening is you're doing the opposite to get x by itself. So, if you have x to the 4th, the way to undo it is raise it to the 1/4 power. If you have x to the 3/4, the way to undo it is to raise it to the reciprocal power. If you have x to the 1/3 power, the way to undo it is to cube it. If you have x to the 1/4 power, the way to undo it is x to the 4th. So that's kind of how to get back to x, or get x by itself. Because when you're solving an equation, your whole goal is to get x by itself, right? So you're going to have to manipulate these equations to get x by itself. Yes?
If you flipped it so it was x 1/4, and then the 4 was on the outside, it would still be the same.
It'd still be the same thing. Yes. Yes, Courtney?
Okay, so on number 1, you're trying to undo x to the 4th. Right?
Uh-huh.
On number 4, are you also undoing x to the 4th?
Either way. It wouldn't matter if it was x to the 4th or x to the 1/4. They would both be undoing themselves.
Okay, so wait, so I start with x to the 4th, and I want just x.
You raise it to the 1/4 power,
Okay.
which is like taking the 4th root. Same
Okay,
thing.
so 4 and 1 are the same way to undo something. Okay.
Yeah. So if we look at number 5, my whole goal is to get x by itself. So in doing that, I'm going to think about doing PEMDAS backwards. So I'm going to add or subtract first.
Okay, so 13, you gotta go.
So 13, you got to go. So x to the 2/3 is equal to what? 4. And I'm even going to write PEMDAS backwards on here because that helps me. Okay, so I have x to the 2/3 equals 4, but with the idea of what we did on 1 through 4, how would I get that x by itself? What would I need to raise each side to?
3/2.
The 3/2. Yes. Okay. And so by doing that, the left side will now, the exponents will cancel, and I'm left with x. But what is 4 to the 3/2? 8. How'd you get that?
Because 2 times 2 is 4, so you have 2 2's.
You go small and then you go big.
I don't do it without the head.
Go small and big. So square root of 4 is 2. 2 cubed is 8. Good.
Probably start
Bye,
doing
Megan. Have fun with your little kids.
All right, number 6, PEMDAS backwards, right? So I'm going to do what first? Divide by 3. So x to the 3/2 is equal to what? 120. PEMDAS backwards. So I want to get rid of that. Okay, x by itself. How am I going to get rid of that? Not times 2/3, but
to the 2/3 power.
yes, thank you. We got to be correct in what we say.
X equals,
No, I'm not multiplying it by 2/3. I'm raising it to the 2/3 power.
so that should be 25.
What
X
did you do
equals
to
25.
Yes. Yes, David. Yeah.
Good job, David.
Why am I
25.
getting the hardest lesson all year long?
It's starting to click.
No,
No.
It's starting to click.
just lucky guesses. Just wait to
for
Vegas, baby. Let's win some money.
Exponential slide.
Okay, number 7, you should get 16.
X equals, and then it's
Number 8 is a little tricky.
Yeah.
How do I get rid of this 2/3 in one step?
Which is times 3
by
over
2
2.
over 2.
By positive or negative 3/2?
Negative.
Negative 3/2.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So does the other side?
Oh, it's 3.
And so
So it just become 3.
it just becomes 3.
Okay, now I have to raise it.
So x to the 1/4 power equals, and if it didn't just become 3, make sure that you put that number over 1 and multiply across.
Wait, how does it just become 3?
Because it's square root.
But it's over 2.
Oh! That makes sense.
And then negative times negative is positive 3.
Oh,
Mr. Right.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's just
Then I raise that to the what power? 4.
Yeah, it's just the 4.
Uh-huh.
3 to the 4.
81.
Don't you dare say
Okay, number 9. Now I've got stuff in parentheses. I still want to get that x by itself. But in PIMDOS, if I'm doing PIMDOS backwards, what does the P stand for? Parentheses. So that's going to be last. So I'm really not going to get to do this stuff until the very end. So exponents comes before that. So how do I get rid of that 4/3?
fourths.
Raise it to the 3/4.
So there's going to be 2 sets of parentheses stacked up.
So 3/4, 3/4. So then I've got x minus 4 equals 27. Then I add the 4. So x equals 31.
Oh, you finished that before?
You can just drop the parentheses at the end. So basically that minus 4 doesn't come in until the very end.
How neat.
Okay,
Wait,
This
this
is
is
a lot.
what squared by 4 goes into 81?
So wait for the
So the 4th root of 81 is 3.
So 3 to the
And then 3 to the 3rd power is 27. Okay, try number 10.
Or x equals
Okay.
I'm
Okay, how do we feel about these?
I actually.
Y'all are killing these.
Yeah,
Oh, we're killing
Okay, killing them. All of them. Means you're dominating.
puts me in the
So
side.
killing
Alright,
puppies
let's
is
look.
good.
No.
Solve for
Solve for x.
So today.
These just look a little different because they've got square roots. They don't have the powers.
Does it look
But
good to me?
My
looks
math
about
teacher
the same.
Me for any problem that may come across my way.
So, number 11, what do I do?
First, you add the 3.
Add the 3.
So it should be
That would be 2x
square
plus
root
5
of 2x
equals 10.
minus
Then you're going to square it to get rid of the
equals
square root. So it will be 2x
10
minus 5
squared
equals 100.
2x
And then you're going to add 5. So then it will be 2x equals 105. Then you're going to divide it by 2.
divided by
And
2,
then
so
whatever that
x
is,
equals
the answer.
52.5.
I just leave like this because it doesn't divide evenly.
Gosh, dang it.
No, it doesn't. You know that by now.
Me and me like worked through that problem at the exact same time.
So are decimals not considered rational numbers?
Yeah.
So it's just
They are.
If they can go into a fraction, then they're rational.
Okay, nope.
Numbers that aren't rational are
X
pi, the golden
3x.
number.
Things that like the decimal doesn't repeat itself, like it doesn't end. So irrational numbers are where there's no terminating decimal. Okay, number 12.
Is that factoring?
Ooh, it is. Courtney discovered.
No!
Yes.
Technically 0 works here.
Squared.
I literally hate
Squared. No, it doesn't.
Negative x
Square root of 2.
x plus 2 equals 0.
3x plus 2 equals, what's 3x
Negative 9
squared? 9x squared.
Not, well, 9x squared.
I don't want to move that 9 to the left side because that makes it negative. So let's move everything else to the right.
Really killing me.
Minus 3x
You know, I really
So
think
9x squared minus 3x
concepts
minus
come
2?
together like this. It's kind of cool, but I really just don't like
It's pretty cool.
No, I really just don't like it, you know?
I like it.
Miss McKinley, do you know what Graham's number is? Okay.
Do I want, wait, what?
It's like an actual thing. It's like a number so big it makes your brain explode.
Okay, how do I factor this?
No,
X plus 1, 3x minus 2?
it's like so
3x plus 1,
impossible to calculate.
3x minus 2.
Remember?
I think so.
So, how do I solve for those?
Wait, no.
Hey, I got this. Hey, I got the
'Cause
answer.
that would
X.
be, that would be, but that would be negative. Oh.
3. Oh
Oh,
my
I
gosh,
wrote it wrong.
why do we have to bring the factor back?
8.
It's negative 6 x. Well, let's have to
I literally
Yeah,
just started
Negative
understanding
6x.
math, like the first time
Is
this
there
year,
any
and then
factoring in
all of a
calculus?
sudden, here we come back.
So
to
x equals
factoring.
what and what?
Negative 1/3
Negative 1/3.
and 2.
Wait, David, why don't you just
Do any of those not work?
For factoring.
What?
What do you
It's like I did. I just.
Oh, does the
it just
negative
doesn't
not
make sense.
work?
I just can't explain it, bro. I just can't explain it.
What?
So the only time that it would not work is when you plug it in and it's an extraneous solution.
Why?
What does that mean? So
It's gonna be negative 1 and you can't be negative.
So if like this side equals a negative, it doesn't work, right?
Yeah, and if you put negative 1 over 3, that would
Because you can't, when you square root something, it's always going to be positive. So this x to the negative 1/3 doesn't work.
So it's only x.
X
Are there
equals.
gonna be a lot of problems on this test?
Please don't say there's gonna be
There
a
will
lot
be
like
some.
that because I cannot do factoring in much. Miss
Yes, you
McKinley.
can.
Okay, let's look at 13.
8.1a. 8.1a.
Just put
Okay.
8.1a on like chapter 8.
I will literally make a 100 if you put an 8.1a.
Okay, 13.
He knows I'm gonna die.
So what do I do first?
Subtract the 5.
So
There's a
square root of x minus 3 equals x minus 5. Now what do I need to do?
Square it.
Square.
Square it.
Do we put parentheses on the right side? Yep. Mia.
I just did something wrong.
So what does the left-hand side look like once I've squared it?
X minus 30.
And what does the right-hand side look like?
X squared plus
plus
5.
five.
No.
Five.
Yes.
Oh, hello?
It is not x squared minus 25 because you killed a
Plus
puppy.
X
You
minus
have to do it, multiply it out.
X squared minus 10x plus 25.
Whoa. Okay.
I got that by doing x minus 5, and I FOIL.
I
I don't
can't.
remember that.
Oh.
Don't complain. It's not bad.
I'm not trying to complain. It's just that, you know.
Do not say it is x squared minus 25 or I will write the biggest
Seriously,
puppy killed
guys.
on your paper.
I guess you physically draw a dead puppy.
Yes. I'm going to make it red like blood.
I am not good at factoring. I'll admit it. That's
Scary there.
Okay.
Factoring is my
Now,
kryptonite.
shh. Move everything over
Kryptonite.
and solve.
Sorry, go back.
Okay. So. No, Kylie, you're not done. Because you know what we have to do now.
Kylie?
Plug it in.
Plug it in.
Wait, 7 times 4. Wait, what?
What? What the heck?
X minus 7, X minus 2. No.
22.
No. Yes, it would. 22. Where'd you
Oh, 28, sorry.
28.
Sorry.
Gosh. Miss.
It's X minus 7, X minus 4.
Kylie, you're not
I
allowed
feel
to
like
say
it's so.
So, then what do you get? When you
X.
x minus 7, x minus 4 equals 0. So x equals 7 and 4. Do those both work?
No. Only the 7 works because if you plug in 4 minus 3 is 1.
So only the 7 works. So you have to plug them both in and see if they check out. So if you plug in the 4, you get 4 minus 3 is the square root of 1 plus 5 equals 4. Is that right?
Yes.
No.
Just kidding.
4 is not right.
Wait, how do you know the square root of 1 plus 5?
You know what would be so helpful?
How do you know
Square root
what
of 1 plus 5. So 1, what's the square root of 1? Just 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 does not equal 4.
Oh my gosh.
So you've got to check your solutions.
I'm never missing this thing.
I feel like there's going to be 100 questions in here.
Okay, number 14. There's a square root on both sides.
Gotcha.
So that's pretty easy. Just square both sides. Now we set them equal to each other. So 3x minus 8 equals 5x plus 1. This is David's kind of problem. About how many of these do you think I'll put on the test?
0.
I'll probably put 1.
No, you won't.
Yes, I
No,
will.
you won't.
You have little faith in me.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm scared you're
on
going to
good
destroy
reasoning.
me on this test.
So x equals negative 9 over 2.
But does it work?
Yes.
It does.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was testing. So what if we get
Because you'll only get one answer.
then
Oh
if
my
we only get
gosh.
1, do we have to check it?
No. If you just get one answer, you don't have to check it. It's only when you get multiple answers.
Boo. Blues, blues.
So here,
Okay.
I want to get the square root of x minus 5 on one side. I want to move everything else over. Okay? So I'm going to add the square root of x to the other side, where it's going to look like square root of x minus 5 equals negative 2 plus the square root of x. Or you could do, let's do square root of x minus 2. That looks better to me, right?
Just go, yep, man. I'm gonna draw a line.
Like that. Okay, now we square.
You square all of it?
We square all of it. So here's what it's going to look like.
2
Squared.
minus 5 equals
Squared. So x minus 5 equals. This is where it gets a little trickier because we don't just distribute the squared because that would be killing a puppy.
what?
So it looks like square root of x minus 2, square root of x minus 2. Like I'm writing it twice, right? And I'm foiling, so let's just take it a step at a time.
So x squared.
So what is square root of x times square root of x?
X.
Just x.
What?
X minus 2
Minus 2 square root of x minus 2 square root of x plus 4.
So it's just x plus 4.
So then I combine my like terms, which are these.
Oh.
So x minus 5 equals x minus what? 4 square root x plus 4.
Can you subtract the 4? Like that last
And then do
one.
we subtract the x and add the 5?
So then we subtract the x, add the 5. So you basically want to get x by itself.
Oh.
When you subtract the x's now, so if I like subtract the x from the right side to the left, it ends up canceling.
So negative 4 square root x plus 9.
It's equal to 0.
So then move the 4 over.
Wait,
Divided by? Divided.
Why wouldn't?
what did you just...
Can you divide it all by negative?
Not yet. I want to get this over here.
Oh.
What if you got the negative 5 over there?
Wait.
Yeah.
You could do that too. So you could
I
say,
made it equal 0, so I put everything on the right.
Yeah.
Because then you'll
Right.
just
Negative
eventually
4.
move over the 9.
well, you're going to move it over eventually anyway.
Because you'll get negative 9 is equal to negative...
Negative 9 equals negative 4 square root x.
Is that what we want?
Yeah, because I want to try to get the x by itself.
You get that
gotcha.
either way.
Then I divide by 4, or negative 4. So 9 over 4 equals square root x.
And square that.
And square that,
Squared.
X equals
Oh my gosh.
81 over 16.
81 over 16. And we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
And we're done.
Chillin'.
Okay?
Like a villain.
It makes sense. It's just a lot of work. The only part that confuses me is the factoring part. It's
Yeah.
at the top.
Okay, so here's this last one is a factoring one, number 16. So I want you to try that. What's the first thing I'm going to do, though?
Square.
Can you times it?
Divide by 2.
Oh,
That's what I said.
okay.
So when I do that, I've got x squared minus 2x plus 14. When I divide by 2, it's 2x plus 3. Then I square both sides.
Square both sides.
So,
Okay, so any questions about number 16?
Can I just copy it
So-
down so I see it?
Basically, when you get something like this, is you want to factor it. You'll get 2 answers. You plug both of those back into the original. Or you could plug it into after I divided by 2, because it's the same thing. And then you'll see that the 1/3 does work. The negative 5 doesn't, because you end up getting square root of 7 equals negative 7. That's not true.